You're listening to
and such a short amount of time to do it in. We were really
a Mamamia podcast.
From Mamamia, you're listening to No Filter, a weekly interview podcast with people who tell their stories very candidly and aren't afraid to be all kinds of vulnerable. In 2016, I was joined in the old Mamamia podcast studio by Cameron and Sam Bloom. They're a Sydney couple who have been through an awful lot. And the turning point, the start of that awful lot, happened back in 2013, a couple of years before we sat down for this interview that you're about to hear. Sam and Cam were on holidays in Thailand with their 3 little boys when Sam had an absolutely freak accident. They just finished breakfast and they were about to go back out surfing. They were a big sporty surfing family. But just before they did that, after they finished breakfast, they decided to walk out onto a balcony to look at the view. And the balcony railing suddenly collapsed when Sam leant on it and she fell and sustained catastrophic injuries. She nearly died right there in front of her family. Her 3 young sons and her husband Cameron rallied around her and they got her back to Australia and she started the long road to rehabilitation. But things were pretty dark, and it wasn't until a chance encounter with an injured magpie, of all things, that some of that darkness really just started to lift for Sam. The magpie was nicknamed Penguin. You may have heard of him. And little did the Bloom family know that this bird would change their lives forever in so many ways. There's been a book and now a movie, a glamorous premiere, and Sam has become friends with Naomi Watts, who plays her in the Penguin Bloom movie. I wanted to pop this interview back into your feed to have another listen to because you might have seen the movie. I hope you've seen the movie. It's a fantastic film. But I really wanted you to hear Sam's story at this time, just a couple of years after her accident. Then I'm going to drop into your feed a new updated interview with Sam. And a lot's changed in her life. But I wanted to first play you our first interview. This is the one that I did with Sam and Cam just a couple of years after the accident. It's very raw and it's very candid. And just a little technical note, this episode was recorded in our first ever handmade, home-built studio inside the Mamamia office. So you might hear a little background noise. We've soundproofed since then. Here's Sam and Cam. I wanted to just start off by, if it's not too personal, you telling me how you got here today. From when you woke up in the morning, what was involved in actually from waking up to getting here in terms of what everyone else would just take for granted?
Okay, sure. Well, actually, I went paddling this morning, kayaking, but I have to get up at 5:45. Cam gets me up.
Now, when you say Cam gets you up, is that because you can't sit up in bed on your own? Because you don't have stomach
Well, I could,
muscles?
but it just takes a while. And
Right.
I'd have to use a slide board to get... I have to have everything next to me. Like, my Ugg boots, a slide board. So I put my Ugg boots on and then sort of slide across into the wheelchair. But Cam, because he's there, he helps me get up.
So he can help you get up. So
Yeah.
what everyone would normally do in the morning, you shower, you go to the bathroom, all of that. How do you manage something like that?
It just takes ages. I get up, have some breakfast, have a cup of tea, and then, go to the bathroom and have a shower. I mean, it takes...
Can you do all that for yourself, or
Yeah,
do
I
you
can
need Cam
do
to
it.
help
No,
you?
I can do all that. Oh, you do help me? He helps me get onto the commode,
Yeah,
which is what you sit on to have a shower.
to have a shower.
Yeah. So, I mean, it can take up to an hour. Anyway, it just takes ages.
So everything requires a lot of time
A lot of time.
and a lot of planning.
Yep.
And if Cam was away, could you do it?
I could do it, but I'd need the boys to help me.
Yeah, right. That must
Yeah.
piss you off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right, so you do all of that.
Yeah.
And again, I imagine this is very different to in the year after the accident and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
are things getting faster?
Yeah.
Are you getting better?
I think so.
We're at 100% now.
No, it's definitely gotten faster.
Peak fitness.
I think, but also I know the timing. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
If I have to meet my coach at 7:30, I'm like, okay, I've got to get up at this time because I have to be, dressed by a certain time and then in the car by 7:15 to get there.
That's no different to anyone else. It's just
Yeah, I
more
know.
time.
I just need a lot longer.
And I guess it rules out spontaneity, does it?
Totally. Yeah. Yep.
Something else you talked about, which I just loved and struck me so much, was privacy. The lack of privacy. Has that got better than it was in the first year or so?
In terms of people coming to the house, yeah.
Probably.
But even just your own privacy. I mean, going to the toilet or having a shower, that's a time, particularly for a mum with 3 kids, sometimes you just need time on your own.
Yeah, I must say I'm much more private than I used to be before the accident. Only because it's still the whole body image thing.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I hate it because my stomach, because I have no stomach muscles, so you look like you're pregnant.
Yeah, right.
Ollie always calls my stomach Trevor. He goes, "Oh, you're pregnant." And he goes, "How's Trevor?" I'm like, buzz off, Ollie. Yeah, it is. It's all body image. And because I scored a massive pressure sore from Thailand, so I have a big crater, like in my lower back, which I think looks disgusting. And so, yeah, I don't want them to see me like that.
The book, Penguin Bloom, The Odd Little Bird Who Saved a Family, is just such an extraordinary gift that you've given. Well, I think you've given it to your kids. You've, in a way, given it to each other and given everyone in terms of just the most fabulous, wonderful story and a brilliant, brilliant story to read with kids because the photos are phenomenal. Cam, you're incredible. And the words are just sublime, absolutely sublime. And there are really 3 characters in it to me. There's your family, there's Penguin, and then Sam, there's you. And you don't have a voice in this book until right at the end, where there's a letter from you that basically is all the things that you want someone to know if they find themselves in your situation or know someone who is in your situation. All the things you wish you'd known at the start, I guess.
Probably.
And the wisdom that you've accumulated. Tell me how the book came about. I mean, not obviously, but it's almost like you couldn't make this stuff up. It's almost fiction. The juxtaposition of the broken bird.
There's so many elements
Sam's
that
accident,
came together.
The falls. How far from the time of the accident, and I'm actually not going to ask you about the accident because I've listened to all the press that you've done and I've found it a little bit jarring when people ask you to go through in detail the accident. I know you don't remember it, Sam, but obviously you do, Cam, and it must be one of the most traumatic things in your life. So I'm not going to ask you to relive it. Suffice to say, you got to the other side. Sam, you came home after 6 months in hospital in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia,
longer?
6 months in Australia.
Yeah. And then how long afterwards did Penguin come into your life?
About 3 months.
Right.
2 or 3 months.
So still in that kind of, when I came and met with you, which was about a year after the accident, Penguin was there. So he'd come into your life during that, must have been that twilight zone between everyone being thrilled that you weren't going to die and that you'd lived and that you were home, but then the dawning realisation that your life would never be the same.
Yeah.
And then Penguin fell from the sky.
She came at a perfect time.
She really did. Tell me about the day that you found her.
Well, we just went to my mum's. She lives at Bugola Beach, and it was just me and the boys, actually, and my sister and my nephews. And we're having lunch, and then, because I wasn't driving at the time, and Mum was going to drive us home, so she lives next to a car park, and so we went into the car park, and Noah found her. It was a really windy day, and she'd blown out of the pine tree.
How old was she, do you know?
We think about maybe 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And what did she look like? Just a broken little
cute.
bird?
Yeah, it's
Fluffy.
a little fluff ball. Yeah.
Fragile.
Very fragile. And she had really big feet.
Yeah, and a big
She
head.
was so cute.
And did you know what to do? You just instinctively...
Yeah, we just picked her up and took her home and made a little bed for her in a basket. And
We knew that we had to, get cracking because I guess, most mothers would be feeding their young, regularly. So it didn't take long before we quickly researched, and I rang my friend Gibbo, who's a vet up in the Blue Mountains, and he said, "Oh, Cam, you're really going to need to you spend a lot of time looking after this bird if you're going to commit to it, because it's going to be every 2 hours." And I said, "Yep, why not? Let's do it."
Every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours of feeding it. And she slept during the night, which was great, but we were making this mixture up for her, and I had to go and buy the special omnivore mix, and it was fun.
Did you ever think, we've got actually quite a lot on our plate at the moment?
I think we're a bit like that though. We like, I don't know, throwing things into the mix and
So it was a distraction in a way.
It was
Oh,
a
it was.
total
And a
distraction.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you appreciate you don't strike me as someone who likes the attention and the
No.
focus being on you. So did you appreciate the shift of focus?
Absolutely. Yeah, I loved it. And everybody, yeah.
But it was never a conscious decision to go.
No. Let's
oh,
find
let's
something
keep, let's
for you.
keep,
Yeah.
well, let's
Just
keep penguin
find an
because it would be
injured
good for Sam.
animal.
Yeah, no. I think it's just one of those things where you go, yeah, let's do this as a challenge, and
But we did. We found her and we just thought, awesome, let's look after her.
And without projecting too much onto you, was there something in you that was like, you felt so helpless and everyone had to help you do so much, you could help someone else and you could keep this thing live?
Yeah. Yeah. And helping something else makes you feel heaps better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you had a family project that wasn't you,
Yes.
which
yes.
must have been awesome.
It was.
And then she didn't die and she grew stronger.
Yeah.
And she became this kind of weird hybrid, didn't she, of a sort of a bird crossed with a family dog.
it's exactly how she was, a hybrid. That's a really good
Yeah.
way of putting it.
Tell me about some of the things that she did that you talk about and photograph in the book.
There's so many different things in that. She began to sing at a young age, and I remember listening to her like kind of, it was not a whistle, it was more like it's almost screech, not screech, I don't know how to. It was just this, it was, I don't know how to do it.
you.
Yeah, but it was just this constant, like for an hour, she would just do this high-pitched kind of squeal, and it was hilarious, and you could tell she was kind of getting her voice.
Yeah, right.
And then that developed into this unique kind of song that she ended up doing with the kids. And that to me was just one of the funniest things, listening to her sing.
Did she have different noises depending on who in the family she was communicating with?
Yeah, I think so.
More for me, it was more the time. So if you arrived home, she would do a certain call. If she flew home and she came running in through the front door, then she'd make another certain noise, meaning
To say, hi, I'm home.
I'm home,
Yeah.
I'm hungry, or
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
Yeah. And in the morning.
Yeah.
When she was sleeping outside at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
she'd do a specific call at the back door, meaning I want to come in.
Like a bark.
Kind of.
Yeah. Let me in. And we'd have to get up out of bed at 6 and
Yeah.
open the door.
You photographed things in the book that I never have seen birds do, like a bird lying down on its back.
Yeah, she often would do that. She'd come into bed and then just you could roll her over and hold her feet and she'd lie there.
And she'd kind of mostly jump up on bed in the morning and
Yeah.
roll onto her side. Yeah.
Which is just so unlike any... I mean, you sort of see birds flying and you see them walking, but you don't actually see them lying.
I think
No.
magpies do it in the
Do they?
in the wild a bit, yeah. I mean, from what I've seen now
Yeah.
online and other...
And she
some
does,
funny videos.
there's a fabulous photo where you talk about how unsubtle she is, where she's, one of your boys is brushing his teeth and
Yeah.
she's got her head inside his mouth having a good look at what's going on with the toothbrush.
And picking.
Yeah, right.
Food.
Yeah.
And of course the cover of the book is Ollie with Penguin lying on his chest and Ollie's kissing her on the back of the head. She obviously didn't mind being touched.
No, she loved being
She
being
loved
cuddled.
being cuddled.
Yep.
Yeah,
Loved it.
and held tight against her chest. So if you held her claws with your fingers and pulled it up close to you, she could virtually be upright and she'd walk around with you like that.
When did you decide she had to go outside?
There was a lot of poo.
There was a lot of poo
Yeah, because I was always thinking that. I was like, what? She just pooed everywhere.
everywhere.
We got used to it, and I was, we all were cleaning it up.
But you
it,
just got over it.
It was just
Too
the
much.
windowsill, I think, was the...
Yeah, because she slept on the windowsill. And it was
Inside.
yeah,
Inside.
inside.
Yeah.
Looking
And it
out.
was- Yeah, it's white, or it was white.
It
and
Once
was.
upon a time.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
So, and she was old enough, so
Could she fly then?
Yeah.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
could fly when you put her outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet you still talked about she would run through the house.
Yeah.
Like she seems to do quite a lot of running in the book.
Yeah,
Magpies
she
do spend a lot of time on the ground, though.
Really?
Yeah.
So she didn't... I mean, there's a beautiful picture in the book of when she sort of flies for the first time.
Yeah.
How long do magpies take to fly? Like, how long was she with you before she started flying?
I don't know the weeks, but I remember she just did a little... The boys remember it in the lounge room. they flew maybe from his shoulder or from one of the boys' arms and landed on the lounge. It was probably like a 3-metre flight.
And that was a
We
huge...
were so excited.
Yeah.
Felt proud parent.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And during this time, Sam, obviously there's your parallel journey, which was Penguin finding her wings and her voice and recovering enough to go outside and be free again while you were doing the same thing. But your battle was in your head as much as anywhere else, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did your family reach you? I mean, Cameron just seems like a stubborn little bugger in the book and just said, we just didn't give up. We just kept saying, we love you, we love you,
That's
we
true.
love you.
You did, yeah.
It was persistence, and the whole thing took time for Sam,
It
I
took a
think.
good 2 years, I think.
But it was gradual. Nothing really, just happened overnight. But I think it was fast-tracked by Peng.
Did you feel, Sam, that there was pressure to be grateful that you were alive? Or to be an inspiration that everybody
Yeah, I
wanted you to
didn't
be?
like
I know you don't like it.
Because I didn't feel like I was an inspiration. Because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Everyone did everything for me. So you just feel like almost like a blob. You know, you're just there. So it's not very inspiring feeling like that.
Yeah, so you didn't feel inspiring, so you
No.
rejected the label.
Yes.
And then slowly, you just came back.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, with Penguin, because, like you said, like looking after something makes you feel much better, and kayaking.
Yeah. How
That
did you
was-
first start kayaking? Because you were a super sporty person before the accident.
Yeah. I got into it because I couldn't think of anything else I could do. I would say, I can't surf and I can't mountain bike, and, and the list went on. And then I said, maybe I could kayak. And so the guy from rehab, he was the sports rec. He was awesome. And he got me into it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It must have been scary. Was it scary or awesome that first time? Or both?
It wasn't scary, but I felt pretty useless because I had no balance. And I had 2 people, one at the front, one at the back, like holding the kayak so I didn't tip in. But no, it was awesome.
And then just being free on the...
and not being in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being out of the chair, being free.
Yeah, and being on the water and being near the bush. That's what I liked.
Is it that sense of movement, unencumbered movement, I imagine?
Yeah, and I could just paddle off on my own and not have to talk to someone and, have someone next to me.
Yeah, that
So
thing of
I
not
loved
being
it.
alone, I really
it
could...
was freedom.
Yeah. And, of course, you being you weren't just content to just paddle around. You had to become a world champion.
Which I'm not, but...
Practically. Did you need a goal to work towards, or are you just naturally a very competitive person?
Well, I used to be pretty competitive, but no. Well, I probably paddled for a year, and then my coach said, "It's a bit of kind of a joke. Oh, we'll go out to Penrith and we'll do some races." And so we did, and it was so much fun. We were just mucking around,
right.
and then we went back out and did a few more serious races, and then the head coach from Queensland saw me and said, "Oh, do you want to get on the team?" sort of thing. So that's how I got on the Australian team.
You guys travelled so much before the accident. You were real hippie travellers, and you were going to do a lot more of that after Thailand. And then for a while you thought that maybe you wouldn't be able to. But last year you went to Milan for your competition.
Yeah.
Was it for the World Championships?
Yeah, World Championships, yeah.
And what was that family holiday like? I mean, you talked about you wanted to get the amendment to the wheelchair so that you could go over bumpier terrain.
Knowing Rome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cobblestones.
wow, mate, it was a nightmare.
That was another really interesting thing in the book, where you say even just a towel left on the floor or a bit of newspaper could provide an obstacle for your chair to get over.
Yeah.
What are the things that you see in the world now in terms of our insensitivity to people with disabilities that you didn't before, that you wish we all kind of knew?
Oh man, it's heaps of things. Just I don't know, just going along a footpath, even if it's just a bit bumpy, and it's just it's a pain in the bum.
Is the world not very accessible for someone in a wheelchair?
No.
Are you surprised at how inaccessible it is?
No, but before I was in the wheelchair, I used to think, oh my God, imagine being in a wheelchair. It'd be, just going down, like, when you just go down from the footpath onto the road and there's usually a bit of a step. Like, that's kind of scary. Trying not to either tip backwards or go flying forwards. But I used to think that before I was in the wheelchair, thinking, oh my God, it would be a nightmare.
Well, you still can't get down a gutter.
No, I can't.
So what do you do in that kind of situation?
Well, I'm usually with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if not, if I wasn't, I'd go the long way.
Until you found
find
a little-
the easiest route.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a pain in the bum.
How did you, as a mother, I want to go back to parenting for a second. How did your relationship change with the boys?
Well, at the beginning, I felt like the world's worst mum
Why?
because I couldn't do anything with them. Like,
And I think you were constantly sad and crying and miserable.
yeah.
I mean, apart from not being able to do anything, you were not in
I wasn't happy. I felt like I was grumpy, miserable.
sad.
I was sad.
You were grieving.
I was grieving. I was grieving for me,
Yeah.
the old me, which died.
and that was hard on the kids.
It was. I felt terrible. I mean, I was never happy. Never laughing, nothing. Always like, grumpy. And you feel really bad. You feel like such a terrible mom. And I felt bad also because I couldn't take them to training. I couldn't take them anywhere. I couldn't do anything with them.
So you didn't feel useful.
No, I felt totally,
Useless.
useless. And actually, and also they'd always go, oh, Dad, Dad. And
That
it's just
came.
like,
That came.
oh, mate. I felt like I wasn't part of the family for a long time.
And that's pretty awful hearing that from,
The love of your life.
Well, yeah, but hearing the kids say that, knowing full well Sam's listening and she's going, oh, God, they're asking Cam all the time.
Oh, actually, I remember one thing that made me feel so bad. It was especially when you weren't there if you're at work, Cam. And then, and I'd be like, oh, can someone get the wheelchair or can someone get this? And then I'd hear them go, you help Mum, I just helped her. And I'd be like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
It just rubbed it in. You feel so bad. You shouldn't ever have to ask your kids, oh, can you get this or that?
But I do that all the time.
Yeah,
But I imagine
But you can do it.
Yeah, I can. I just don't want to.
So I found that really, really hard.
And was time just the only thing that got you past it? Or
Yeah.
I suppose, did everyone have to recalibrate their relationships to each other in the family?
Maybe a little bit, but I think it was time. And it was me getting over it and just dealing with it and being a bit happier. They'd always say, oh, I love seeing you happy again.
It's all kids want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Were you able to get back some authority? Like, do you feel like when you had the accident for a while you lost authority because you were helpless and you're in the wheelchair? And
Yeah.
do you have that back now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can kick their bums.
Yeah, I could try.
Yeah.
I would if I could.
Well, maybe not literally. But you can punish them or do it,
Yeah, no, they are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Sam's
I feel
never
like
been the one, really.
I've never been the dog.
Oh, you're a good cop? I'm good
Yeah.
cop too. You bad
Yeah.
cop?
Maybe
You
just
are a bad
Sam's
cop,
not
Cam.
good cop, she's just easy cop.
I'm an easy cop too.
I'm like, oh, okay, you can keep playing a computer game or whatever.
That's why they love you more.
Yeah.
That's my approach. Cam, the boys, coming up from Thailand or even in Thailand, you've got your whole family in crisis. Sam's in the hospital and then recovering from. You've got 3 terrified, devastated, freaked out little boys. You, I imagine, are completely freaked out. I know there's no easy answer to this, but how did you hold everyone up? What was the process? And did you get to a point where you just lost it?
No, I never did. I just, I remembered, I think for the first 6 months when I got home from Thailand, I never listened to the radio. When I was in the car, I just never listened to anything. And there was always silence. I didn't want to listen to anything. And there were so many things going on in my head that I had to think of or do, or there was always something that I needed to look up for Sam, or, find a new catheter valve, or should our mattress be, well, Sam was still in hospital. So I had a lot of research to do. And there were so many things that were foreign to me that needed to happen quickly. And I wanted to make sure that, I was going to get the best thing for Sam. And I never I know, I never sat still. So
How did you support the boys? Did they have counselling?
no, I think my brother wanted me to.
I bet everyone did.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I don't know, I probably answered people and said, oh, no, I think they're fine, they're doing okay. And they were. I still think that they've handled the whole thing really well. And they keep busy too, and they do adapt. I think people think, I mean, Christ, they were right there. So they saw everything, and, you know, perhaps maybe down the track something, you know, may play out. But, you know, there's a lot of love in our family, so I don't know. I think
And a lot of talking.
Yeah, there is, and I think you know, we're close enough to know if something was really amiss or whatever. I certainly think Noah at one stage felt kind of responsible for the accident at one point, because he suggested, you know, let's go up and have juice on the roof, and, you know, up we went. And so that was something that was traumatic for both Sam and I to hear him thinking.
And it probably was a long time before he even admitted that. You know, kids keep things buried, don't they,
I think
for a
so.
while?
Yeah.
But we never mention that. Like, if someone asked me about the accident, I never say, oh, no, I said
Oh
let's
my
go.
God.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
No, none of us ever say that.
Did the three of them handle it in different ways? Or do
I
they
think
continue
so.
to
Yeah,
handle it in
yeah.
different ways?
Noah was very angry. I
Yeah.
remember that when he'd come and see me in hospital. He's so angry.
How old was he
8?
No, 9.
when it happened?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He'd come in and, you know, and I just
He didn't
remember-
enjoy seeing you.
No, he didn't.
No.
No, and I'd say, no, it's shit, what's happened?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. You know, and I said, this is shit, and, you know, and I said, look, we have to deal with it, because we don't have a choice, we can't change it. And it's like, yeah. Even now, I think he still feels sad, because he knew I love surfing, right, and he's obsessed with surfing. And he'd go, oh, Mum, I feel so bad going down for a surf, because I know you'd love to go down. I'm like, dude, just catch some awesome waves for me, and if you love it, then
Boys
it
and
makes
their
me
mums.
happy.
You wrote in the book how you felt angry for a long time too.
Oh,
like
man,
you
I
had
was so angry.
not irrational anger, very rational
No,
anger,
at
when you
all.
saw people doing things that you could no longer do.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. I still do, actually.
Do
yeah,
you?
but that's why I don't particularly like going to the beach. I don't like, I mean, it's so awful, but you do feel a bit jealous, you know?
Of course you
You
do.
know, I see people running in the morning and going for a surf and, you know.
And taking
just,
everything for granted.
Yeah.
That's
Or-
just life. That's just normal
It's just
for
how
everyone.
it's just, yeah, it is normal. And yeah, I still get a bit angry. But I mean, it's all in my head. I would never, ever say anything, like, you know. But yeah.
One of the most beautiful, you know, we had a great day the other day. We all went down to the beach, and Sam and I sat and watched, you know, Noah surfing, and he loved that. He's
Yeah, right.
just, you know, for
Watch
him.
me, Mum, watch
yeah,
me, Mum.
I mean, all kids want their parents to watch them do that somersault on the trampoline or whatever. And this was, he was so happy that Sam was down there watching.
What about Ollie and Ruben? Ollie got the cover of the book, by the way. Was that contentious?
No, I think I'd chosen that image way back.
Whoa. No therapy required there in the
Yeah.
future for the other two who aren't on
Yeah.
the cover of the book.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did consciously try to make sure everyone was sort of well represented, but Ruben did have, I think, a few less images.
It's like you got to be careful of who you have on your screensaver on your phone.
Yeah,
You've got
you
to make
do.
sure you rotate that image pretty quickly because kids notice that stuff. We'll hear more from Sam and Cameron in just a moment.
Hi, Monique Bowley here. I make podcasts at Mamamia. It's a cool job, but so many people say to me, oh, I've heard of podcasts, but I don't know how to get them, so like whatever. It's like a knife to my heart. Don't you wish there was a way you could say to your friends, here's how you can get podcasts, you dickhead? Well, now you can with the Mamamia podcast app. We've put all of our shows in one place. The app is free and so easy to use, and it has all the shows you know and love from the Mamamia Podcast Network. Just search for the Mamamia Podcast app in your iTunes App Store.
Cam, you co-authored the book with Bradley Trevor-Grieve. What was his involvement? And he wrote the Blue Day book, is that
Yeah.
correct? Tell me about him, because the words in the book are exquisite. It's told in your voice, except for the part that's the letter from Sam at the end. But what was the process of meeting him and making the book?
I'd known him, I'd met him a long, long time ago.
Is he Aussie?
Yeah, he's from Tasmania.
Yeah, right.
And I think I photographed one at a function at the zoo, and he was a patron or, heavily involved in fundraising for the zoo. And I remember meeting him there, and we stayed sort of friends on Facebook, and once, I guess, I was approached by a few publishers, I thought, I should contact Bradley for some advice. And that's how it started. And he sort of, and I thought, once I spoke to him on Skype, I said to myself, maybe he should write the book with me, And I sent him an email, and he said, let me think about it, overnight. And he came back straight away and said, I've got to do this. This is great. He knew about Sam, and it was really his concept of making Penguin and turning Penguin into Sam. And that was, for me, that was just really clever.
So for those who haven't yet read the book, the words are about Sam and Penguin, but all the photos are sort of illustrated in the most gorgeous ways by your extraordinary photographs of Penguin.
She becomes like a vessel for Sam. Yeah, that's the best way. And I was just thinking the other day, imagine if I stripped all the words out of the book and I was just left with pictures. This book is 50-50. Like, there's beauty in the photographs, but there's also a hell of a lot of beauty in the words.
So was the actual process you sitting down and talking to him for a long time?
Yeah.
And him?
Mostly Sam. No, it was both. It was probably split 50-50. But initially, because it obviously is written from me, we spent, I don't know, maybe 3 months just chatting, and I used to write. I'd get ideas in my head saying, you really need to talk about, we need to express this in the book. Sam used to be this, and this, and it was a learning, experience for him too. He had no idea about, some of the difficulties we faced, and never imagined some things Sam was going through.
It was incredibly instructive. Things like the pain and the discomfort.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't feel comfortable. Most people just imagine that you're just numb.
Yeah.
No, always in pain.
I love that about the book.
That's
because
not fair.
I know, it's ripped off, hey?
It was totally ripped off. And that, I learnt so much, and my kids learnt so much from reading the book.
Yeah.
He was great to talk to.
And
I would spend hours and hours talking to him.
Maybe that was your therapy.
It was a bit, because
was.
when Cam was at work, I was like, I think I'd say to you, what am I going to do today? And then he'd like, Skype Bradley. And, and before I knew it, it was like 3 hours gone.
Yeah, right.
He was awesome.
And
I love
sometimes
talking to him.
I'd email Bradley and say, hey, have you got like 5 minutes? Can you contact Sam? She's in a really crap mood today. And, sure enough, I spent 3 hours talking to Bradley today. And you could see the smile on it. It was like, Sam going kayaking. It was.
Because also you could say things to him that probably you couldn't say to Cam, and you couldn't say to the boys, and you couldn't say to your family.
Yeah. I would tell him everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to write down things in my phone, and no one had seen it. And I remember telling him, because I think he asked me, have you ever written anything? I'm like, well, yeah. And I'm like, no one has read it. Cam hadn't seen it. And he goes, send it to me. And I did. And he wrote back, goes, you're really screwed in the head, aren't you? I'm like, yep.
Therapist wouldn't say that.
But that was the catalyst for the message in the back. He said, Sam, we got to do this. This is going to be such a great insight to a lot of people. And it was important for him to add that into the book.
Without your voice, that would have been really missing. Like without your voice in your voice at the back. That was extraordinary just unto itself, that letter. Cam, what comes through so much in the book is just your unwavering love for Sam and your complete patience, your extraordinary patience, just waiting for her to catch up with the fact that you love her, the family loves her, you're all there, that hasn't changed. And also almost just waiting for her to come back into her life and into the family. Has the power dynamic in your relationship, I imagine that this is the case when there's someone who's very ill in a relationship or someone who's had an accident or has a disability. Can you have the shits with her now? Like, for a long time, did you have to just be like... Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not asking a question very well.
No.
But, like, can you have fights now and just go, Sam, stop being a bitch, or not
No.
that you'd call her a bitch, but
Yeah,
you know
well,
what
no.
I mean? Like,
Well, probably the only thing that drives me nuts is, oh, Cam, do you think I look good in this scarf?
well, that's
like-
just every woman.
Yeah, so no, we still don't fight.
No, we don't fight.
We-
So you didn't fight before?
We never
No.
fought before.
I would tell you to shut up. Sometimes.
As I'm
If
cooking
you-
dinner.
Yeah. no,
No.
we don't fight.
No.
You can't smell or taste, can you? Except for
I
fish.
smell fish.
But in a bad way or in a cooked way? In a yummy
Both.
salmon?
No, not a yummy way. It's the fish is fish. But
So-
even petrol smells like fish.
So everything smells like fish.
No, but I
Really?
can't smell perfume.
You can't
It's
smell
so
perfume.
weird. Yeah. I'll be going along, even in the car or paddling, and I'll go to either Cam or Gay usually. Can you smell something? Can you smell something? I have no idea what it is.
How do you have a relationship with food and hunger and taste? What is food to you now if you can't taste
I
it?
actually have I actually do get a little bit hungry now, occasionally. I didn't for a long, long time. I just ate for the sake of eating. I can sort of taste a little bit, like sweet, and salt.
So is it more about texture in a way, or
At
just
first, it was definitely more texture, but I think maybe it's come back a teeny bit.
yeah?
Either that or I'm used to it. So,
And you still cook for the kids?
Yeah,
You still
still
like to
cook, yeah.
cook?
yeah. I was paranoid. Remember when I'd first start cooking and I'd be like going to the boys, can you taste this? Can you taste this? Does it taste all right? Now it's just like, yeah, whatever.
Where's Penguin now? And when did Penguin leave?
She left the day before we went to Italy. So that was
Well,
like
the day
last...
before you went to Italy.
Yeah, Sam left for
Yeah,
Italy.
I left a few weeks earlier.
Yeah, and we had a call that she was down at our friend's house and they were having a big party and she was up till like 9 o'clock and she was sitting on everyone's shoulders. And so Ruben and I went down to their house and they said, oh, she just took off just before you got here. So then I think we got back from Italy and a friend of ours said that, she was down at the shop. She was hanging out down at the laundromat and keeping everyone sort of company down there. And so I drove down and she was there and she flew to me and I brought her home and then...
In the car?
Yeah, in the car. She used to sit on the steering wheel.
Sit on the steering wheel.
It's pretty funny going around the corners. She would have to run sideways like a crab. And then, then she stayed with us for a couple more days and then took off again back down to the sort of same spot. So we used to get updates from the florist and the laundromat saying, oh, Penguin's here again. And I'd often go down there and see if she was there. Oh, you just missed her. She just flew
Because
away.
she was domesticated and she obviously associated people with cuddles and
And she sang
food.
differently.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And I think at the time she had a couple of missing tail feathers, so people knew it was her.
But now has she kind of blended back into the magpie population?
I guess I
think so.
wouldn't know what she looked like.
No.
And she doesn't come back to visit?
No.
She hasn't.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
I'd love her to come back.
Yeah. But you've also said that she left at the right time as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because I was busy. Like, I got back from Italy and we're still training. So,
Yeah.
I was busy, which was good.
What an extraordinary gift she gave you. Was she with you for a year?
2.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that she has gone wild. Not that she wasn't, but, like you said...
Well, she
in the
wasn't. She was in
No,
a
she
car
wasn't.
and in your bed. That's
yeah,
not very wild.
But in the beginning, like you said, she was hybrid. And for her to not finish her life being stuck, with the blooms, and yet be free and, make her own family is a pretty awesome ending.
I mean, it's a metaphor for so many things, but also for your kids growing up, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
if they live at home with you forever, you haven't done a very good job.
Yeah.
So,
Sam's going red.
I wonder where she is. I'd quite like my kids to live with me forever, just quietly, but that's just me. Where to next? Adventures?
Oh, there's going to be
World
lots of...
domination? Olympic medals? Come on, Sam.
No, I didn't make the team.
Well, that's not very good.
I know. Tell me about it. I was spewing.
Look at you.
I know.
You're just like, okay, you're 12th in the world, aren't you? 12th fastest, best, most qualified
Possibly.
kayaker in the world.
It's still
Yeah,
it's such a shame
possibly.
that Australian team only takes one
One.
Yeah,
athlete.
one.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
I know, because
And-
I just went down to Adelaide and Perth, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, to race. And, yep, someone beat me. And they say, we only take the winner. I'm like, fair enough.
That's hopeless.
So, yeah, I was spewing.
What if the winner gets
spewing.
sick?
That's what I said.
What if the winner gets Zika?
I know. Bad luck.
It's the most brilliant book. I highly recommend it. I'm just so thrilled to see you guys and to see you so happy. But just the change I can see in you in the last year or so is pretty extraordinary. So
Yeah. No, I feel heaps better.
I'm so happy for you. And I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
for you both. The book is a triumph. Thanks both for coming in.
Thank
Lots of
you.
love.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mia.
A reminder that the new interview with Sam, where we talk about the developments in her life during the 5 years between the conversation that you just heard and now, is going to drop into your feed next. So keep an eye out for that. And I have to say, I was pretty surprised at the difference. A lot has changed. And remember to subscribe to No Filter wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a thing.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.